Hello, I'm Vanessa McLennan, and this is the place where I help you with your emotional eating and poor eating habits. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can stop the sugar and how I've helped others and myself quit the sugar for good. So please hit the subscribe button for more videos on emotional eating, healthy eating, and weight loss. So if you find that you are addicted to that nasty white stuff, keep watching because I have got some tips for you. Sugar is so addictive. When I was doing my research for this video, I read studies that shows that it's 9 times more addictive than cocaine. Plus it tastes so good, so no wonder we can't leave it alone. So if I asked you, how many teaspoons of sugar do you think you eat in a day, what would you say? Comment below because I would love to know what you think as to how much sugar that you eat in a day. So let's guess, if you perhaps have tea or coffee in the morning, you might have, I don't know, a couple of teaspoons in your tea and coffee. If you are having a snack in the afternoon, then a couple of teaspoons in your chocolate, let's say, or in your snack sweet. Maybe if you're having dessert, maybe if you're having sugary drinks. So a wild guess, 10 to 20 teaspoons a day? Well, the average American eats 126 grams of sugar a day. That's 33 teaspoons. And the average UK person eats 93 grams a day. That's 23 teaspoons. That's a lot. And the UK government guidelines I read are 7 teaspoons a day. Why is it so bad? Well, it is a big cause of diabetes, obesity, tooth decay, and generally lowers our immune system, so it stops our bodies from working efficiently. On the chemical side, when we eat it, it releases that dopamine again, that makes us feel so good. When that dopamine hits, it gives us such a huge high, such a lovely reward that we just keep doing it again and again and again. Our brains will do what feels good for us. Because it feels so good, we keep doing it again and again and again. It can then lead to an addiction. So dopamine is naturally released when we are doing feel-good things like socialising, having sex, eating tasty high-fat foods. It is concerned with the survival of our species. It's like a drug because we eat it, we get high and we feel pleasurable from it, so we want more. And then the more that we eat, we don't feel that same high, so we have to keep on eating more and more and more to feel that same level of high. And before we know it, we are addicted to it. I didn't think I was ever addicted to sugar until I thought, right, that's it, I have to let it go now. And oh my God, it was so difficult. And then I realised how addictive sugar can be. So how do you go about breaking the habit? Well, there are a couple of ways to go about it. Number 1, cold turkey. If you know that you have such fierce, strong willpower, and you probably don't eat that much sugar in a day, you could decide to go all out and just cold turkey. So that requires finding alternatives to your sugar, finding different habits, and finding different foods to eat so that you don't get drawn to those same foods. The other way to go about it is step 2, which is one habit at a time. Naturally, as humans, we are adverse to change. So sometimes for most people, going cold turkey is a huge change in lifestyle, thought patterns, and just behaviours. So it's a lot easier for a lot of people to do one step at a time. To let it go one habit at a time, look at your whole eating pattern. So look at your day, for instance, and really break it down into how often you have sugar. So for instance, you might have your tea and coffee and you might have a couple of teaspoons in there. That's your first habit. Your second habit might be you have a mid-morning snack, for instance. They have sugary bars or chocolate. Your third habit might be you have lunch and then after your lunch you have some sugary sweet thing. Your fourth habit might be you have a mid-afternoon snack, and so forth. So each one of those eating patterns are one habit. So to let it go one at a time, what I recommend, instead of conquering the whole day, which I say can be really tough, change one habit that you are going to swap out. So for instance, tea and coffee might be like, oh no, that's too hard, but actually I'm going to tackle the mid-morning snack. So instead of having that sugary snack, decide to have an apple, piece of fruit, satsuma, a banana. Once you have conquered that step, then do another little habit. So in other words, it might be after your lunch, think, right, I'm not going to have the dessert. Instead of dessert, I'm going to have a bit of a savoury snack, or again, I'm going to have a piece of fruit, or I'm going to have a nuts and seeds. So it requires you to put some thought into it before as to what you're going to do. Just move on to the next step when you're ready, all right? There's no pressure, there's no, oh, I must do it like now. There's no, oh, I've got to do it all day, because that sort of pressure is what causes most people to go, oh, blow it out and then go big time on the sugar. So just take your time, conquer one step, one habit at a time. Another way is just to slowly transition. So if you think cutting out like one habit at a time is just, again, too much, just break that down into a little bit more and transition from high-fat sugary foods to low-fat sugary foods. So for instance, if you have your mid-morning snack and you might have a chocolate bar, instead look for perhaps a protein bar, or look for an oat bar which might have less sugar. Again, after lunch, if you have a really, really sugary dessert, transition. So don't knock the sugar back altogether. Just transition into, again, an oat bar, a protein bar, or you can go for one of those really pressed, fruit and nut bars, or you can go for popcorn, the non-sugary type. So just slowly transition down. And again, just wait for the next step until you're ready. Okay, there's no point racing ahead, because when you do, then that's when all of a sudden you get that craving back, because we have not dealt with it psychologically, and then you have a blowout and you go for sugar. What I recommend is, as you're doing this, as you're doing the transition or you're leaving one at a time, just all the time just observe how you feel, how it makes you feel leaving the sugar behind. Why I'm saying observe yourself is because my next point is the emotional side of it. Sugar gives us such a strong kick, such a strong high. Now, if you're eating sugar all the time, you might think it doesn't give me a high. That sort of gives you an idea of what level that you are at, and perhaps the level that you are suppressing emotions with it. When we eat really strong foods like sugar and it's giving us that high, it is taking us away from ourselves, so it is suppressing the emotions that we have, or it's helping us to become so disconnected from ourselves that we are not actually in tune with our own emotions. The more we start noticing cutting out processed and sugary food, the more we start to become in tune with ourselves. When we start to become in tune with ourselves, and especially when we're leaving the sugar behind, we perhaps start noticing more and more emotions that are going to come up for us. Now, if we haven't handled or looked at these emotions, this can be really quite challenging and quite difficult for us to comprehend, for us to get our heads around, and for us to be able to deal with these emotions, because if, let's say, you've been eating sugar for years and years and years, you've not had to deal with these before. Now all of a sudden these are coming up for you. Your body and your brain's going, what's happening? What's happening? I don't like it. I don't know what to deal with it. So hence that feeling there will drive you to sugar again. So if you find yourself in that state, by just gently observing how you feel, and then working on those emotions. So it's just acknowledging the emotions, knowing what emotion is coming up for you, why do you feel that way, and just, it is okay to feel whatever way it is, and then work on the emotion. Don't go suppressing it. By working on it, it helps you to address it, and then also helps you to leave the sugar behind. Do it all in your own time. It has to be at your pace, at your time. And as you go along, observe the emotion, and then you can work on the emotion, and with time, you will be able to leave that sugar behind. If you know that you are emotionally eating and that sugar is covering up an emotion for you, comment below. I would love to know, what is it you're observing? What is it you're feeling? What emotions is it that it's covering up for you? If you liked what I'm talking about here, please let me know by clicking the like button. And keep watching for my next video, because I'm going to talk to you about how you can just stop endlessly picking at food. Thank you very much for watching.